Well, I guess Aiden can kick it off. Aiden, you want to start? Just give a little bit of background as to how you started.
How I started trading.
Yeah.
Oh, geez. Well, it was, I guess, almost 4 years, three and a half. And it was kind of around the time that like the crypto boom happened when Bitcoin just took off and everyone started becoming obsessed with it. And like Nate and I were doing like research on it and we just came across FX. Um, Obviously, not really related to the crypto or Bitcoin boom, and just kind of got interested in it and studied a little bit, watched some YouTube videos, and obviously you heard yesterday the story that Nate told about the first trade he took on Bitcoin through MetaTrader 4, and I don't know how much money he even put into an account, but he completely blew it within an hour or so. And so I had done the same where I had just started trading as well. And that was kind of our first introduction to trading. Obviously, we didn't quit after that, even though a lot of people probably would have after losing all that money. Um, but it's just really been it's been a crazy journey and lots of ups and downs. Obviously, lots of couple blown accounts, and that's just part of the process. That's part of the learning curve, and it can be very frustrating for people. Um, Obviously, everyone here is on a different uh, journey. Everyone's got different experiences, um, but really, what I've figured out is, early on, it was really for us, like kind of jumping around from group to group or course to course. And there was always that feeling as if, I need someone to like literally hold my hand to trade or signals. And signals aren't a bad thing as long as there's education, but that's why we do the education with our signals. So, we explain why we're taking the trade, the rationale behind the trade. And I think that can be very beneficial to understand a live market condition. Why are you looking to actually take the trade? What are your confluences behind it? Um, Nate can hold my hand. Nah, I'll pass on that one. Um, where was I? Um, so you know what I found was, you can, jump from group to group or course to course or whatever and soak in information. But there, what really is going to be the deciding factor for your success is taking that leap and realizing that, you have to take it into your own hands ultimately and gain the necessary experience yourself in trading. And it's like, if you're completely reliant on somebody else, you don't know if that person's going to just, you know leave the internet or just disappear, or, God forbid, die in a car crash, something like that, where then, you don't have that person anymore, right? And so if you want long-term success, then it's ultimately up to you and the work that you put in and the experience you want to gain yourself. And really, that experience is experiencing failure, right? It's experiencing failure. And unfortunately, in society, we are punished for failure, right? If you look at the grading system in schools, grades are literally meant to punish you for failure, for not knowing what's uh, the material, essentially. And so they punish you with a bad grade. And most of the time, they don't even go back and help you understand why you got that bad grade. What can you learn that you didn't know for the test? They just give you a grade and they move on to the next material. And so that kind of outlook on failure as a bad thing, as a punishment, is very unfortunate, and we have to kind of remove that perspective on failure out of trading, right? We have to enjoy failure. We have to embrace failure, right? We have to, instead of losing a trade and getting in the fetal position and crying and sulking, you lose a trade, you get back on the charts and you understand why you lost a trade. You learn from failure. And the same goes for success, right? You win a trade, you go back on the chart, you, instead of, jumping up and down and screaming with excitement, you just remove the emotion, you get on the charts and you understand, why did you win that trade? Right? What were the confluences behind the trade? Because what you want to do is incorporate not only your failures, but your successes into a trading plan, right? Into a trading plan, into a set of rules, right? Where you can literally learn from your failures, incorporate that into the plan to help you remove that failure in the future, help you avoid making the same mistake, right? Incorporating what worked for you in the past, successes, into your trading plan so that you can apply that in the future as well, right? And we mentioned this yesterday, is the fact that human beings are naturally emotional. And that was a lot of my problem throughout my journey, was the emotion, removing that emotion. It's so difficult to do. And that's why, so many people fail, is because they cannot remove that emotion. There's always that psychological, phenomenon with respect to trading. The excitement of getting into trades, the fear that we have in the markets when we're in a trade and maybe it's in drawdown, right? And then you end up closing the trade because of fear, only for it to then go into profit and hit your target. The fear you have when you're in significant profit, right? And it might not have hit your target yet, but you're afraid that you're going to lose that profit. So you close prematurely. The fear you might have for just entering into a trade because you don't want to lose. Maybe the emotional stimulant you get when just simply looking at the markets just for the sake of getting into a trade. There's so many different emotional stimulants within trading that will hold you back. Right? It's more than likely not your technical analysis skills, right? Obviously, there's always things to improve with technical analysis, but it's relatively easy to learn, right? Especially over time. It's not, technical analysis isn't going to come overnight. It's not. But neither is psychology. Neither is controlling your emotions. That's what takes the longest to master, is psychology, not technical analysis. So, it's just a matter of not only gaining experience with technical analysis, with the way you apply the techniques, the concepts, but it's also gaining experience understanding your own mind, what goes on inside your brain, right? And that's where it might help having a journal, like a diary, writing down your thoughts, what was going through your head when this certain thing happened, right? So, it's really just a matter of time to be able to understand what holds you back psychologically. What can you work on inside your head so that you can avoid emotional decisions in the markets in the future? It's a matter of experiencing all the different things that the markets throw at us. Like, look at yesterday. That kind of manipulation yesterday doesn't happen often. Okay, but it happened yesterday. So when something like that happens in the future, how can we manage that? Right? So many different things that go into it. And it's, it's not really necessarily concrete. because we're all different individuals. We all have different emotions. We all have different personalities. So I can't tell you what's going on in your own mind. I simply can't. That's up to you and for you to understand and to self-reflect on. Right? And that's the hardest part to trading, and no one talks about it. And that's a fact. So I guess that's my little sermon for this morning. I don't know if you want to add on to anything, Nate.
Very nice, very nice. Sure, I'll piggyback off it. So, I mean, just like Aiden said, we can only teach you technicals. We cannot teach you, how your brain works. We can give you insights as to the problems that humans go through in terms of their psychology, but we can't physically improve that. Only you can do that. So, giving a little background as to how I started, and I'll just kind of reiterate from before, but to paint the picture. All right, I joined a fraternity my freshman year of college. All right, Aiden and I were sitting in his room, and we were introduced to Forex by one of his mutual friends. I opened up an account. I think it was about $100, and I saw Bitcoin. It was at a relatively low price. It was like 7,000 at the time. And I'm like, oh, well, it can only go up from here. It's going to go up and it's going to come back down. That's the stupidest thing I could have ever thought in my life, especially with trading, because trading, happens on a minute scale. So one tiny move up can make a drastic change in your account. And obviously I didn't know how to identify or really risk manage back then, and just kind of placed a random lot size on there, 0.05 on a Bitcoin long. And I got stopped out, and I was frustrated. I was like, well, this is just stupid. But the thing is I absolutely loved it at the same time. I hated it, but I loved it. So it just goes to show that it doesn't matter where you started. I mean, you can just imagine the stupidity behind my decision. I had no idea what Forex was. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just trying to make some money. And that's, I think, how everyone starts. And that doesn't really matter where you come from. It doesn't matter if you're have an understanding of Forex to begin with. If you don't, if you are, your IQ is like 150, 200, I don't care. It doesn't matter if you're the smartest person in the world or the dumbest person in the world. It doesn't really matter, because Forex is an entity on its own. Like it's so different than anything you've ever come across in your life. That's from my experience. Anyone can learn it. It just takes hard work, discipline, and time. And I think psychology, you can't really master it overnight. You can't master it within a week or a month. It takes quite a bit of time to really develop your discipline and psychology. So we want to, implore upon you guys to really focus in on this. Take this stuff to heart, because this is really what will transform your trading. Technical skills over time, those will come if you keep practicing and you keep journaling and you keep continuously learning. But psychology, that's going to be the biggest thing. All right. Everyone has urges, but how good are you to fight those urges? Urges meaning it could be with, I have no idea. It could be in a relationship. Could be it could be anything in this world. It could be anything bad in this world. Like you do something that you're not supposed to do, but you do it anyways because you can't control yourself. That's exactly what Forex is. It's really about, can you stop trading when there's no setup, when the conclusions are not met? Just because you see something and you want to make it look good because you want to get in the market and want to make some money this week. This is why long-term trading is the most beneficial. I do have a journal. I go over it on the course as well. Over at my trading journal, it's called journaling and back testing. That's the video, and I show you my journal in that. Journals are very, very crucial, because they can literally show you not necessarily what you did right and wrong, but it can show you your journey through where you were to where you are. So I cannot stress it enough, guys. I mean, it takes time, it takes experience. And over time, you just start to develop it. It's just kind of like riding a bike. Like, you just keep failing and failing, and you just keep falling and falling. And you don't know why you're trying to do everything right. Then all of a sudden you're just up and you just keep pedaling. And that's kind of how trading works. It's like you can keep failing and failing and failing, and all of a sudden it'll just start to click, and you'll just start to see it. Now, that's, not the exact representation of how trading works. I mean, it's not just one day you're just going to wake up and just be a professional trader. And it does take time, but over time you will start to see things more, and it will start to click easier. But that's really just for technicals, for psychological purposes. I mean, just really sitting down and failing. That's really what it is. If you can fail, you're doing something right, in my opinion, because the only way you learn is through failure. That's how I learned. I failed so many times, but I never gave up. 3 years of failure. Well, really like 2. But here's the thing, guys. I mean, imagine waking up, because I'm on Eastern Standard Time. Imagine waking up at 3 a.m, Monday through Friday, doing analysis on the weekends, and not making much money, continuing to fail and fail and fail. How many people would just quit? Be like, oh, I'm done with this. I'm going to go out and party, or I'm gonna sleep in, or I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. 99% of people would do that. But that's not going to get you anywhere. That's really not what's going to get you anywhere. You quit, you're just like everyone else. If you want something badly enough, you will find a way to get it. It's just how the world works. That's really how the world works. If you want something bad enough, it will happen if you continue to work for it. I don't know if anyone has seen the movie The Adjustment Bureau. I would watch that movie. It kind of goes over that. It's a really good movie. It's kind of cool. But it kind of goes over the fact that, many people will try to set you off a path. And that kind of goes for trading. Oh, people, my friends want to go out and go to the bar. My friends want to do this and that. My family wants to take a vacation here, like whatever it may be. But it's up to the person, the individual, who has that drive and motivation to forget about all those things that people want them to do. To really focus on what they want. And that's exactly what the movie was about. What was the drive in the desire and the passion for what he wanted. So I would look that up. The Adjustment Bureau. I think it's on Hulu. Take a look at it. It really as you watch it, you'll start to see these things. And if you're driven enough, stuff changes. And in the end, I'm not going to spoil it for those of you who want to watch it, but you'll see exactly what I'm talking about if you watch the movie. So don't think about the numerical value. Don't think about the dollar amount. Don't think, oh, I made $100, I made $1,000, or I lost $100, or I lost $1,000. Doesn't matter. People ask me, how many pips do you make a month? And I tell them that doesn't matter. I don't calculate pips. I calculate percentages. Because that's really what makes you the money. I mean, I've said this many, many times before. Someone could have, on the higher time frame, they could have 50 pip stop loss, 200 pip take profit, 1 to 4, right? 4% of your account if you win. But I could also scale in, right? Just like on AJ, I know I didn't take that, but I mean, it would have had like a 10 pip stop loss. And I could have had a 100 pip take profit, which it ended up hitting. That's a 1 to 10. That's 10%. I only made 100 pips. Well, the other person made 200 pips, but I made more money than him because I had a better percentage gain. So if you have, like, let's say a $500 account and you're only making like, $50, that's 10%. That's amazing. 10% on that. But people think, oh, $50, I lost nothing. That's just like, I don't know, a dinner, whatever that may be. Whatever $50 buys you guys. But if you think about it in terms of, over time compounding, what if you do 10% on $100,000 in a week, $10,000? You're going to be more apt to stop trading and look for the best possible trades because you don't want to lose that money. That's $10,000 you made. You're good to go. Keep going on to the next beautiful trade setup. But many people won't stop trading after a $50 game because they think it's not enough, because they don't understand the percentages behind it. And that's where the psychology gets mixed up. Over leveraging is another thing. Wanting to just become rich quick. That's exactly why brokers offer like down deposit matches, or they'll give you a certain percentage of your deposit because they want you to have, or they want you to think you have more in your account when in reality you don't. It's just they want you to over leverage more. They want you to risk more. So back in the day, I opened up my first like $1,000 account or whatever, and they gave me an extra like $200 or $300. So I thought I had like $1,200, $1,300. In reality, I just had 1,000. But they wanted me to think that I had more, so I would risk more. Because my account balance or my equity balance said 1,200, 1,300. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to risk 1%, 2% of that. But it's really, you're over leveraging on your $1,000. So I would take that into consideration. That's one thing. But guys, just like whenever you lose a trade, don't get upset. Whenever you're in drawdown, don't get upset. I mean, you have your analysis for a reason. And just like what Aiden said before, I mean, taking a trade out prematurely because it's starting to go in the opposite direction. Let's say you're in profit, right? For instance, Euro USD. You know, partials are a good thing. They are a good thing. Just to secure some money, to secure some percentages. But if you get scared that price is starting to pull back and you start to take out your trade, if you do that each and every time, let's say, you know, you have a 1 to 5, right? And you're in really good profit at about a 1 to 2, 1 to 3. And the back of your mind says, oh, I'm in profit, I'm going to take it out. But if you do that every single time, your risk to reward is only like a 1 to 2, a 1 to 3, because you're just going to take it out every single time. You have to have that discipline and that psychology to say, okay, I'm going to let it hit my stop loss if it doesn't hit my take profit, or at least break even. So, I mean, that's just what's going to get you that longevity in trading. If you guys have any questions about this at all, I'll be glad to talk to you about it, because psychology and discipline is the number one thing that hurts people, that no one really can seem to grasp. And it does take time. It's not going to happen overnight. Just like trading, nothing happens overnight. Nothing in this world happens overnight. It does take time, it does take patience, it does take discipline. And it's really up to you. We can give you all the information, all the keys to success from our experiences, but it's really up to you to do something with it. Just like the course, guys. I mean, we're giving you all this information, but it's up to you to apply it. Don't think that when you take our course, you're just going to become a professional trader. You can become a professional trader from the information that we give you, but it's up to you to determine how you apply it and how hard you work with it. Are you willing to get up early? Are you willing to study on the weekends? Are you willing to back test? Are you willing to be disciplined in the time of day that you're trading? Are you willing to do analysis throughout the week? The market does not run on your time. I had one person when I first started this company, when we started this first company, Aiden and I. It was one of our first couple members, and I think he was on the East Coast. Maybe he was in London. I'm not quite sure. But whenever he would wake up, he would just text me. He would be like, hey, are there any trades? And I'm like, bro, the market doesn't work on your time. It's not just, you can't just wake up and be like, oh, I'm going to start looking for trades. If I did that, I'd wake up at 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock in the afternoon every single day. London session would be done. New York session would be half over. Volume's low. Trying to look for trades on my time? No, that's not how it works. That's why I have to get up at 3. That's when London session starts. If you think it's on your time, then you're dead wrong. It's on the market's time. The market does not care if you're rich, poor, smart, dumb, handsome, hideously ugly. They don't care. The market cares about itself. It will make money on its own, but it's up to you. It does not matter what type of person you are. It's up to you to determine how you're going to beat it. And that goes to institutional trading and discipline. So, I mean, I started out not knowing a lick of anything in terms of trading. Didn't know a single thing, but I developed my skills over time. It took 3 years to do for me. It may take more for some people, may take less. But I guarantee you guys, if you're willing to do it, the reward is tremendous. Like I said before, Forex is not a get-rich-quick thing, but it's the quickest way to get rich. You can't get rich quick overnight, but you work your ass off, man. I'm telling you. 2, 3, 4, 5 years of really working and grinding will beat that 40-year working career. Promise you. And it's a lot more beneficial because you have more freedom. You have more time. Time is an asset. Time is more of an asset than money, even though money is cash is the most liquid asset there is in this world. But time is, I think, more, because what we do as traders, we're not trading for money. We're trading for time, meaning we're trying to accumulate or compound our money as to where we don't have to work like every other worker in this world. We want to be able to have that time freedom to do what we want to do when we're young, and not just when we retire at age 65 in a wheelchair or in whatever it may be, not being able to do things you want to do. I know many people who would have loved to go, travel through, I don't know, somewhere in Europe, go hiking in Europe, go camping somewhere, but they're not able to anymore because they had to work their whole life, and now they're old and they can't do the things they want to do. My parents were the same way. They don't have the mindset I do. I don't come from a family who is rich. My parents never gave me any money. I mean, granted, I never asked for it. Maybe I was just too scared to. But don't think that I was wealthy growing up. I was, my parents do well for themselves. They make a good living, but they never gave me any of it. They never gave me any money. They provided me with the essentials, and I am forever grateful for that. But it's not like I was handed things. I had to buy my own clothes. I had to buy my own food. I had to buy my own car. I was never handed anything. And I think that's what really creates, more of a independent person, is someone who never really had much growing up, never even has much now, but are willing to work for it themselves. Because I know some people who get everything handed to them right now. I have a person who lives next door who gets everything handed to them. What happens when something happens to their parents, or something happens where, somehow, they don't have much money anymore? They're not going to have the skills. They're not going to have the drive to go out and do it for themselves. They're too lazy. They don't know how to do anything. People who don't have much, those are the people who make the most out of their lives. I mean, think about it. All these rappers, all these actors, I guarantee you a lot of them came from nothing. But the reason why they are where they are today is because that they saw their situation. They wanted to change it. And they did. They wanted something better for themselves, wanted something better for their families. So they went out and did it for themselves. And that's exactly why they are today. Never give up. Never give up. There was a speech that I watched on ESPN. It was a while ago. I think my dad showed it to me. And I forget his name. I really want to figure out his name again. But it was a great speech. He had cancer. And he was standing in front of a podium looking out at a bunch of all of these young athletes. And he was talking about the fact that, no matter what life throws at you, in this case, cancer, never give up. Never give up. No matter what happens, never give up. And he beat it. He beat cancer. Yeah, he died a few years later, but it had nothing to do with cancer. But he fought it and he beat it. And that's exactly what you can do throughout trading, throughout any part of your life. Whatever you want, you can have it. You literally can have it. It's just about working for it. So, I feel like these lessons are more important than any technical analysis lesson I can give you guys. But it's all up to you guys to apply it yourselves. So I won't talk anymore. I know I've spent a lot of time, but if you guys have any questions and anything you'd like to share, please, by all means. Aiden, if you had anything. Stuart Scott, that's it. Yep. That's his name.
Oh, yeah, Stuart Scott.
Stuart Scott.
Great guy.
No, wait, no, that's not him. I mean, yeah, he was an announcer. Stuart Scott. No, it was a white guy. It was black hair. Like, I forget his name. I'll have to look him up. I know who you're talking about. I know who Stuart Scott is. He was a great guy. I loved watching him when he called games and did all the broadcasting and the stuff, the announcing for ESPN. But it was someone else. I'll find you his name. I'll share it with you guys. But I would go watch that speech. I'll send it to you guys. Craig Sager. Maybe that's it. Hold on, let me look him up. No, it wasn't Craig Sager. I'll find it. Anything else you guys have? Anything at all? Any other questions? Could be personal, could be trading related. I feel like some of these groups, mentorship groups can be very helpful. I mean, sometimes it's quite hard for people to really do it on their own. I know some people who have, and they do well for themselves, but I feel like if people, who need help, if they're able to reach out and ask for it, I mean, that's just as good. Getting guidance, getting mentorship to really develop what you want in life is really the greatest gift, really the greatest thing you can have. I'm glad I helped you guys. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. Yeah, I can take a look at EJ for sure. EJ, all right, so higher time frame, we have massive equal highs here. Okay, we have equal highs across the board, as you can see, around 126.8. So these will be hit out. I'm just not sure if we're going to see a pullback first. But the yen has been absolutely ridiculous. I mean, we've seen, massive. That's why I really don't care for the yen. I don't really care for the pound either. It does this crap. But we have to recognize that we do have equal highs. Now, I know a lot of people who took a trade from 45 minute maybe. Yeah, something here. That's not a bad trade, guys. It's not a bad trade. So if you end up losing this trade, don't feel bad. I mean, that's probably what I would have done. But again, like I said before, I don't go against momentum. I just don't like momentum. It's hurt me so much in the past. I don't like it. But yeah, we can clearly see that these equal lows were purged with this 45-minute candle. Sell to buy made a new higher high in comparison to the swing point. So obviously we would expect, one drive pullback, two drive pullback into this level, three drive. Let's see if we have any EMA confluence. Yeah, sort of right in here. So maybe we will have a push up. But the momentum, because we've had this engulfing to the downside and a really strong push into my area of interest, I don't like to take those kind of trades. Even though it may align structurally and technically, it's just one of those things that I just don't like to go against momentum because it has killed me before. I'm not saying this will go short. I mean, it could, but just because of that reason, I'm not going to be looking to take this long yet. We could see more of a push to the downside first. But overall, I mean, we're still bullish. We have to take out these equal highs. There's just no current setup on it at the moment. I'm just going to wait for next week. I'm pretty much done for the day, done for the week. I don't really see much across the board. Really trying to figure this whole course thing out with our developer. So I have a lot of stuff to do today. But yeah, it's not a bad trade. I would continue to look for longs. Now, if we break this structure in here, we close below that on the 4-hour time frame. It wouldn't be a bad idea to look for shorts. However, that would still be quite risky because you have so many equal highs. So I would recommend just still looking for longs. I mean, there's no certain setup at the moment, except for the fact that we are very bullish and we have equal highs that will be run eventually. There's just no setup because we're seeing bearish momentum at the moment, which you shouldn't fight.
EuroCAD is kind of intriguing me for potential longs next week if we get above counter trend structure.
There was something else. Someone had a question about EN. I think I saw that earlier. ECAD, you said?
Yeah, if we get above counter trend structure, because we are now essentially respecting that daily 50. So we're just going to need to have a counter trend break. I would have liked for it to have come into that 4-hour candle there. So maybe we get one more push down before the break of structure, but we have nice equal highs as well. Higher time frame.
Yeah, they're above the daily 50. This is very corrective in nature, guys. Very corrective. You have equal highs that will be run. I'm not quite sure if we're going to have that final push to the downside next week to come into this candle of interest. We may. But ultimately, we do have to just get back above, I would say. Well, we kind of already did. I would really just like to see a higher high first, an actual clear higher high, and then pull back before taking any trade. I would like to see this candle here mitigated. So if we can come a little bit higher than have an overall pullback, that'd be nice. But we'll do it for the weekend to see how the weeks close. But yeah, I expect further upside. His name was Jim Valvano. That's the guy I'm talking about for my little spiel. Jim Valvano, Valvano. Write it down, look him up later. It's a great speech.
Yeah, if we get above structure, get above the 4-hour 50, should be clean.
Yeah. Gold. Many people who took this trade, and if it kind of had just kind of trickled down, I would have taken it myself. I just don't like the fact that we had this run up here and then an engulfing back down. This momentum shift. I thought for sure that this would just draw on liquidity, just to take all the liquidity, and then we're going to have that overall pullback. I thought the same thing for the dollar. I thought we were finally going to have that overall pullback. Same goes for EU. I really thought that this would be, some sort of lower low. We pull back, lower high, and these were equal highs in here. I thought we were just going to take all that liquidity and fall, but we're still bullish. And that's why I wanted to wait for the daily to close. And it kind of closed up here or something. So I waited for London, New York, and exactly we're up here by that time. That's exactly why we didn't take a trade in here, because not the correct time of day. So we're still bullish. Now we're just waiting for some sort of pullback, maybe back down into sort of these regions of price. Let's go long again. Retest market structure, something like that. Yeah, I mean, don't get fooled. I mean, yes, we still are in an uptrend. Yes, this ended up working out from this level, but if you get in the habit of not going against momentum, it will help you in the long term. It will. I mean, I don't care that it did this. I mean, I actually kind of like the fact that it did that, because continuation with the overall trend. But I mean, I don't care, because I'm glad I didn't go against my rules of not trading against momentum. Yeah, I think that's all I got. I don't really have much else. Any other questions? Any last questions before we hop off today? We'll let you know as soon as the course is uploaded, or once the website has been uploaded to the internet. We will send out the links for everybody. Your NZD. All right, last one, guys. Your NZD. Okay, so your NZD. Yeah, I mean, we have massive equal highs in here. Let me just drag this across. We will take all of these out eventually. What I'm thinking is just kind of like a big, massive head or inverse head and shoulders. You can kind of see left shoulder, head, potential right shoulder. So I kind of want price to get back down into this demand level, and then we can look for longs when we get back down into here. 1.7550, 1.76, somewhere in here. But yeah, I mean, we're very, very bearish at the moment. I just don't think that we're going to go any lower than this, because one, we retested structure here, and two, we have equal highs. So I think we're going to see this rebound from this price point. That does not mean to buy it, because I don't want to have, remember, 400 pip stop, but we'll look to scale in lower time frame and look for that liquidity run, some sort of equal low sell to buy, break structure, pull back long, and we can go for I mean, just up to equal highs like 1.83. I don't know, 700 pips, something like that.
Euro AUD is honestly more intriguing.
Yeah, it's just very strong.
You have some very clean equal highs.
This may be just some sort of sell to buy to take these out. But Aussie and New Zealand dollar are very, very strong at the moment. So I just want to see how the weekly closes. We can reevaluate from there. I think what we'll see on Euro GBP, to be honest with you, I think we're going to have some form of really just some sort of push to the downside, really to clear these lows, because this is the last swing point. LPOR failed to make a higher high. If we actually make a clear lower low, then I expect some sort of higher time frame pullback, maybe taking out these equal highs in here, and then finally selling back off. So leg, pullback, leg. That's what I'd like to see. But if we get time and price, Monday morning, Tuesday morning, Wednesday morning, whatever, then we can take intraday shorts. But overall, I do think we're going to have an overall pullback before really shorting off. Because like I said before, I think I did this in a breakdown video a while ago. I was looking for shorts around this level. Now, this is not a sponsor candle, but it's the last buying volume. So anywhere in this candle to look for shorts is good. So we had that reaction. We were looking for shorts in and around this level. And I think that's exactly what we're doing now. We had one drive, two drive, failed to make that third drive. And now we're back below the 50 EMA. I think we're going to start selling off because this big, huge impulsive move took out these equal highs. So now we had that massive reaction from it, and a pullback to continue down would be nice. We do have equal lows down in here as well, in balance. Pound is still strong, so I'd expect further downside, but for now, there's nothing pertinent. I mean, for something like this, guys, yeah, we had equal highs that were run in the morning. Be a nice pullback into sort of like this region of price. I don't know if there's anything in here. Sort of this last buying volume, but I mean, that's not going to happen this session, and it's Friday, so I'll just let it go. Friday is really just meant for trying to find those quick in and out type of plays. Didn't have much of that this morning. But yeah, I think we're bearish on this pair. Yeah, the weekly is going to close. Yeah, quite strong. Very good. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate your time. Thank you for staying with us and listening to that. I really enjoyed it. Have a great weekend. We will update you as soon as the course is released. So thank you guys so much. We'll talk to you soon.
Yep.